Because as a seamless kind of segue, you mentioned they're floating offshore wind. Just so people almost understand the technology difference of how this has happened. So offshore wind projects, when originally planned and developed, you looked at what's the cheapest, easiest way to get the project off the ground, quite literally, that you would look for the fastest wind speeds at the shallowest waters. That's how it worked. Dogger Bank Round 3 is on a raised part of the seabed called Dogger Bank, which is therefore shallower. I think it's 30 to 60 meters, which actually allows you to build these massive wind farms relatively easily, because you can use technology called monopiles or jacket structures, which physically attach you to the ground. One of the challenges that you face is that as the turbines get bigger and you want better yield, you need faster wind. But you get faster wind at deeper water, and at a certain point, you can't use physical structures anymore because the water's too deep and it's too expensive and it's too difficult. Do you want to take over from there almost about how floating offshore wind is really important for the future?
Yeah, and floating offshore wind essentially is a marriage of that fixed offshore wind you've just described, the bottom-mounted turbines which drill into the seabed, and oil and gas technology, where you have floating platforms. Oil and gas in very deep waters now, and they moved from having platforms anchored up, drilled into the seabed, to floating platforms which are anchored. When I talk to oil and gas people about deep offshore wind, they don't see it as that. They see it as very shallow waters. But yes, we're moving to having these floating platforms, and there's a whole range of technology issues we have to sort out about what the best type of platform should be, how to make those platforms as cheaply and cost effectively as possible, the cabling, the anchoring, the mooring systems. There's a whole set of things that are being resolved. But we need to do that because in the UK, we will run out of those shallower sites. UK East Coast has a lot of development activity and it's getting busy.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to look further afield. We need to look into Scotland, Scottish waters. We need to look in the southwest of England, where there is great wind resource, but it's much deeper. And the same goes true around the world. Most of the world's offshore wind resource, the best place to build wind farms are in deeper waters.
Japan, Portugal.
Japan, Portugal, they don't have a shallow bit of beach which slopes gently off into the sea for a few miles. It goes off and then it just goes down. You know, they're on the edges of continental shelves. So they need floating offshore wind. And one of the great things is about the UK taking a leadership role is that the UK can help commercialise it, which will help other countries adopt it more quickly.